Hi, this is James Lamb, President of the Association of Independent Property Brokers and Agents, the trade group for small and mid-sized transportation intermediaries, commonly referred to as freight brokers and their agents. We are filming this video here today at the 2013 Mid-America Trucking Show in Louisville, Kentucky. In 2010, I founded the AIPBA because many small and mid-sized brokers felt their interests were not adequately being protected and promoted in Washington. The biggest issue facing brokers these past few years has been the proposed increase in the property broker bond amount. Since 2004, certain groups have been trying to raise the property broker bond through FMCSA rulemaking because it has not gone up since 1979. FMCSA chose not to raise the bond in response to their requested $500,000 level due to anti-competitive effects. They then began having serious discussions at the end of the last decade with members of Congress and attempted to convince Congress that raising the broker bond to $100,000 was needed to protect truckers against widespread fraud. In our first year, the AIPBA successfully campaigned against the $100,000 bond, and we convinced the United States Senate that although there was an appearance that the proposed Motor Carrier Protection Act would help truckers and motor carriers, a deeper analysis showed that such a drastic change would actually have anti-competitive effects and a devastating impact on most players in the trucking industry, including owner-operators and small brokers. As a solution, we suggested that we should follow FMCSA's assessment that bonds need to be delicately balanced in order to avoid anti-competitive effects. In 2010, FMCSA determined the household goods mover broker bond should be raised to $25,000 to adjust for inflation, and we agreed that the property broker bond should likewise be raised to $25,000. The states of Virginia and Florida also imposed $25,000 on intrastate brokers. In 2011, we again thwarted attempts to impose the draconian $100,000 broker bond on the industry in the House of Representatives, and we pointed out inconsistencies by certain proponents of the $100,000 bond, including their own statements that raising the bond would not fight fraud. In 2012, the broker bond was slipped into the highway bill after it failed as standalone legislation in both chambers of Congress for 2 years in a row, as an amendment to MAP 21. Although we and other groups were able to successfully get it reduced to $75,000, we are still concerned about the anti-competitive effects this new bond will have on the industry. We are therefore currently working on getting this amount repealed, and we are considering commencing a court action if necessary to challenge this law in federal court. If we do not stop this new law, we expect that up to 75% of the 22,000 brokers in the industry will have to shut down, and new would-be entrepreneurs will not be able to afford the cash collateral requirements to enter the industry. This will result in less opportunity and choice for people in the industry, including owner-operators, who will then be at the mercy of the remaining mega brokerages. Owner-operators who currently broker out excess freight will also have a difficult time putting up the cash collateral, and given the new costs of up to $7,000 per year, it may not be worth it to them to continue to outsource excess freight. Once the dust settles and the small brokers are removed from the equation, supply and demand teaches us that many of the remaining brokerages will then pay owner-operators and small carriers less, and shippers will have to pay more for brokerage and trucking services. As a result, we as Americans will all see a corresponding increase in consumer prices. Historically, brokers and owner-operators have acted like adversaries. The AIPBA believes brokers and owner-operators should recognize that the biggest thing they have in common is that they are both small businesses. When it comes to small business operations, each player means more to each other than when one of the parties is a large corporation. We think small businesses should band together and defend against anti-competitive legislation and overbearing and burdensome regulations. Brokers and owner-operators should realize that they are partners in business, and they should work together in a positive way to reconcile competing interests and ensure a fair and level playing field. It is for this reason that the AIPBA believes the broker bond should go up to $25,000 to fairly adjust the financial security that protects owner-operators for inflation. In general, when it comes to regulation, we believe enforcement is key, and we think that the industry can play a significant role in policing itself through the respective trade groups in the industry like AIPBA. Lastly, let me address the fact that the AIPBA and I personally have been criticized recently on the internet by certain individuals associated with competing trade groups. You may have seen a YouTube video within the last few weeks which reacts rather harshly and defensively to our legitimate criticisms over the dissemination of misinformation. Misinformation that was used by lobbyists to affect the MAP 21 changes to broker license requirements. This is to be expected in politics and during political struggles over the direction American and the industry should go in formulating public regulatory policy. We wish to point out that the YouTube video neglected to point out that the AIPBA has over 1,425 members. There is a coalition of many groups that have banded together to repeal the $75,000 bond, including trucking groups, and more than 1,700 people in the industry, including truckers, have signed our petition to keep the broker bond reasonable. Many of you have expressed and shared our disappointment in the individuals associated with producing that video and have questioned their professionalism. We at the AIPBA hope members of the industry who are truly concerned about the plight of small business and trucking will stand with the AIPBA as it continues to promote and protect the interests of small business. Finally, I want to say thank you for taking the time to view this video today and let you know how much the AIPBA appreciates all of the kind words of support and positive feedback many of you have expressed to us during our campaign to keep the broker bond reasonable and in the aftermath of the campaign to discredit the AIPBA. I'm James Lamb, President of AIPBA, and I thank you again.